What if the show you thought you knew was nothing but smoke and mirrors? Fans of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta are reeling after a shocking revelation that could shatter years of drama, loyalty, and betrayal. KIRK Frost and Rasheeda, the couple whose roller coaster marriage has been the centerpiece of the franchise, are now at the center of an explosive confession. In a twist no one saw coming, whispers are spreading that the pair privately admitted much of the show was scripted, but the real bombshell didn't come from them, it came live, raw, and unfiltered from Jasmine Washington herself, who claims to have the contract that proves everything. Picture the scene: a chaotic Instagram live, comments flooding in, emojis flying across the screen. When Jasmine leans close to the camera and says, "Y'all wanna know the truth? I got the papers right here." She holds up what she claims is a signed document, alleging it reveals the Frosts were paid to play roles, to cry on cue, to fight in front of the cameras while smiling off-screen. Fans gasped, fingers froze mid-comment. The internet went silent for one electric second before the storm hit. Was everything the cheating scandals, the DNA tests, the late-night arguments nothing more than a show for ratings? The betrayal wasn't just aimed at Rasheeda, it extended to millions of fans who invested years into following the saga. Emotions ran high as people replayed Jasmine's words, dissected her every gesture, her every smirk. Some called her brave, others called her bitter. But one thing became clear: the family was left divided. And the empire KIRK and Rasheeda built was suddenly crumbling in front of the world. Stay tuned, because this isn't just about a leaked contract, it's about trust, deception, and the collapse of an entire reality TV dynasty. And the truth, as Jasmine promises, is only beginning to unravel. The air around Atlanta's entertainment scene grew thick with tension after Jasmine's shocking Instagram live. Fans were still trying to process the possibility that their favorite reality show could have been nothing more than a carefully staged performance. Yet the storm was only beginning. Within hours, clips of Jasmine waving that contract went viral, circulating on every gossip blog, every hip-hop forum, and splashed across headlines with captions that screamed betrayal. The Frost family name, once synonymous with survival and hustle, was now being dragged through the mud, leaving both KIRK and Rasheeda scrambling to keep control of the narrative. Rasheeda sat in her boutique after hours, lights dimmed, phone buzzing non-stop. "KIRK, do you see what she's done? She's trying to destroy everything we've worked for," she said, her voice trembling, not just with anger but with the raw sting of humiliation. KIRK leaned against the wall, silent, staring at the floor as if the weight of Jasmine's words pressed down on him. For years, he had carried the burden of public scandals, affairs, and accusations. But this was different. This wasn't about private choices aired out for the cameras. This was about the credibility of their entire empire. Social media reactions poured in like fire on gasoline. Some fans claimed they always suspected the drama was staged, pointing to moments that seemed too perfectly timed. Others defended the couple, saying Jasmine was only bitter and seeking revenge after being pushed out of the spotlight. Yet even those defenses cracked under the intensity of the live footage. "She had papers, y'all," one fan tweeted. "You can't fake that. This whole thing was a lie." The sense of betrayal rippled across the internet, with hashtags like #ScriptedLoveAndHipHop and #FrostExposed trending within hours. Meanwhile, Jasmine continued to stoke the flames. The next morning, she posted a cryptic story on Instagram: "Y'all only saw the first page. Imagine what's in the rest." Her sly smile in the selfie only deepened the fury of fans and the panic within the Frost household. Rasheeda confronted KIRK, demanding answers. "Is she lying? Did you sign something? Tell me the truth, KIRK." Her voice cracked, the pain of years of infidelity resurfacing as she looked at her husband, who remained maddeningly evasive. "It's complicated," he muttered. But complicated wasn't enough. Complicated didn't explain why millions of fans now believed their entire marriage was a performance. In the midst of this chaos, other cast members began to weigh in. Carly Red, never one to miss an opportunity for the spotlight, hinted during a podcast interview that she had always known some things didn't add up. Her coy tone made listeners lean closer, hungry for more. Young Jock jumped into the conversation on his radio show, joking that if it's all scripted, then where's my check for acting? His laugh carried an undertone of truth that only further fueled speculation. Even K. Michelle threw subtle shade on Twitter, writing, "Sometimes, lies pay better than music." The industry was buzzing, and the Frosts were left in the eye of a storm they couldn't control. Rasheeda's mother, who had been a steady presence throughout the years, was livid. She called her daughter late at night, her voice sharp. "I told you from the start, don't trust that girl. Jasmine's out for blood." Now she's dragging your name in the dirt for the world to see. How long are you going to let this go on? Rasheeda wiped her tears, torn between her loyalty to Kirk and the weight of public humiliation. For so long, she had fought to hold her marriage together, to show strength when the world wanted to see her fall apart. But this time, the wound wasn't just personal. It was public, corporate, global. Their brand was at stake. Blogs began digging deeper, pulling old footage, replaying heated moments with a new lens. Scenes once consumed as raw and real were now dissected frame by frame. Look at how Kirk glances at the camera before answering. One gossip site pointed out, it's like he's waiting for a cue. Another posted side-by-side comparisons of emotional arguments, claiming the lighting and angles were too perfect to be spontaneous. Suddenly, everything felt like a lie, and fans were demanding accountability. In an effort to control the damage, Kirk arranged a private meeting with producers. "We need to shut this down," he insisted, but producers were equally rattled. A leak of this magnitude could jeopardize not only the Frosts' reputation but the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise. The producers urged silence, warning that any acknowledgement would only legitimize Jasmine's claims. But silence was its own weapon, and fans were already taking Jasmine's side. At the heart of it all was Rasheeda's heartbreak. Sitting in her dressing room before a scheduled appearance, she confided to a friend, "It feels like I've been living a lie twice over. First, with the cheating, now, with this. What's left that's real?" Her words carried the raw ache of a woman stripped of certainty. She wasn't just battling Jasmine's allegations, she was wrestling with the possibility that her marriage, her sacrifices, and her public image had all been reduced to a script on paper. As the days rolled on, the drama escalated into chaos. Jasmine went live again, this time teasing that she would release more pages of the alleged contract if Kirk and Rasheeda didn't tell the truth. The live drew tens of thousands of viewers, each one holding their breath as she dangled the possibility of even more revelations. Emotions ran high, the family was left divided, and fans were shocked as the saga spiraled further out of control. And just when it seemed the Frosts had hit rock bottom, another twist arrived, one that would pull the curtain back even further and leave everyone wondering how much of the past decade had been nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. The tension only grew heavier after Jasmine's second live. Her calm but deliberate tone was like gasoline on an open fire. "Y'all want the truth. I'll give you the truth. They played y'all, and they played me too." Those words replayed in clips across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, each one pulling more people into the storm. Blogs started labeling it the biggest scandal in reality television history, with headlines screaming that Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta was collapsing from the inside. Fans who once stood firmly behind Rasheeda now began questioning whether they too had been tricked into buying into a fantasy. Inside the Frost home, the atmosphere was suffocating. Rasheeda paced the living room, her phone buzzing with messages from friends, stylists, and journalists begging for a statement. "We can't keep quiet, Kirk, she's threatening to drop more, and every second we stay silent, she wins." Her voice was fierce but broken, torn between rage and fear. Kirk rubbed his temples, his mind racing. "If we say anything, we're done. If we admit it, the whole thing blows up. Not just us, the whole show. Do you know what kind of lawsuits that would bring? They'll bury us, Sheeda." But Rasheeda wasn't convinced. "You think they ain't already burying us now? Look at the blogs. Look at what they're saying. Our kids have to go to school and see this mess." She slammed her phone down on the coffee table, tears welling in her eyes. "You dragged me through the mud with the cheating. I stood by you when everybody told me to leave. But this is different, Kirk. This makes me look like a fool, like I sold my life for a paycheck." Jasmine, meanwhile, was relishing the chaos. In her apartment, surrounded by ring lights and cameras, she scrolled through the endless flood of comments praising her bravery. Some called her a whistleblower, others accused her of being messy. But Jasmine thrived in the spotlight. She teased fans by holding the stack of papers close to her chest during a live, whispering, "There's more in here about Carly, about Jock, even about Mona. If I drop these, the whole empire crumbles." The comments section exploded, people begging her to spill it all, while the Frost's silence only made her threats more credible. Other cast members started turning on each other. Carly Red, in a live of her own, hinted that she too had seen contracts that didn't match what the public was told. "All I'm saying," she purred, "is not everything y'all saw was real, but some of it, oh that was real pain. Don't get it twisted." Her cryptic words only deepened the suspicion, leaving fans more confused than ever. The producers panicked behind the scenes. Emails flew back and forth between executives, lawyers, and PR teams, each one more frantic than the last. If Jasmine actually had legitimate documents, the entire Love and Hip Hop brand was at risk. Sponsors threatened to pull out. Networks demanded answers. Mona Scott Young herself reportedly called Kirk, her voice sharp and unforgiving. "Handle it, or I'll handle it. And trust me, you don't want me handling it." But Jasmine wasn't backing down. On the third night, she released a blurred screenshot of what she claimed was part of her contract. Fans zoomed in, dissected every word, and while some said it looked fake, others swore it was real. The words character arc and storyline payment were just visible enough to ignite a firestorm. See, they called it a character. This whole time, Kirk and Rasheeda've been characters, not a couple, one fan tweeted. The betrayal cut deep, and emotions ran high, as viewers realized their tears and loyalty may have been nothing more than a reaction to scripted lies. At home, Rasheeda broke down to her best friend Kendra. "All these years, I fought to make people believe in us, to prove that we were more than just gossip. Now it feels like it was all for nothing. My kids are asking me questions I don't even know how to answer." Her voice was raw, full of pain. Kendra hugged her tight, whispering, "You can't let Jasmine win. You can't let her tear down what you built." But Rasheeda wasn't sure she had the strength left. Kirk, meanwhile, grew colder. He stopped taking calls, stopped leaving the house, and started whispering about lawyers and countersuits. But no matter what he did, Jasmine's voice was louder, her presence stronger. Every time she went live, thousands tuned in. Every tease of another document made headlines. The Frosts were losing the war in real time. And then came the most shocking twist yet. Jasmine hinted that the contracts didn't just expose Kirk and Rasheeda, they revealed a hidden clause that could prove their entire marriage had been staged for the cameras from the beginning. She leaned into the screen, her eyes gleaming. "What if I told y'all the wedding itself was part of the show?" The internet exploded. Fans screamed, "Are you serious? This can't be real." The Frost marriage, once the emotional anchor of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta, was now on trial before millions. The chaos was no longer about one leaked contract, it was about unraveling an entire legacy built on drama, loyalty, and survival. The fans were shocked, the family was left divided, and emotions ran higher than ever as everyone braced for Jasmine's next move, not knowing that the truth she was about to drop would cut deeper than anyone could imagine. The world seemed to hold its breath after Jasmine's last revelation. Blogs, fan pages, and gossip shows replayed her words over and over again. "What if I told y'all the wedding itself was part of the show?" That single line turned into a viral soundbite, a remix on TikTok, and even a meme. But for Kirk and Rasheeda, it was a dagger to the heart. The one moment they had always clung to, the wedding that symbolized their union, was now being dismissed as a staged production. For Rasheeda, it felt like her entire identity was being ripped apart in front of millions. She sat alone in her boutique, scrolling through the endless posts, her hands trembling. "They think I sold my vows for a script," she whispered. Tears ran down her face as she remembered walking down the aisle, believing at least that part of her life was real, untouchable. Now fans mocked her online, posting captions like, "Was the kiss scripted too?" and "Cue the director when Kirk says, I do." Each comment sliced deeper into her pride. At home, Kirk tried to steady himself, but his composure cracked when he overheard their son on the phone with friends. "Nah bro, I don't know if it's true. I just don't want to talk about it." His voice was embarrassed, weary. For Kirk, that was the breaking point. "This isn't just about us anymore," he snapped at Rasheeda later that night. "It's about our family. We can't let her do this to our kids." But Rasheeda's reply was bitter. "You let her do this, Kirk. You brought her into our lives. You made her powerful enough to ruin us." Meanwhile, Jasmine continued to fuel the flames. She went live again, sitting in her kitchen with a glass of wine in hand, papers spread across the counter like trophies. "I'm not saying everything was fake," she teased, "but let's just say the producers knew how to push buttons. They knew how to get Kirk to act messy. And Rasheeda, oh, she played her role too." She smirked at the camera, sending fans into a frenzy. Comments flew in, some cheering her on, others begging her to release the full documents. The suspense became unbearable, and the audience grew larger each night she teased another revelation. The industry took notice. Late-night talk shows joked about the scandal. One host quipped, "Next thing you know, the DNA tests will turn out to be rehearsals." The crowd laughed, but behind the humor was a growing sense of betrayal. If the show was fake, then so was the audience's investment, their loyalty, their tears. Ratings for reruns plummeted as people questioned why they should watch a show they now believed was nothing but theater. Producers scrambled. Mona Scott Young called an emergency meeting with legal teams. If Jasmine has those contracts, we're sitting on a bomb, she warned. We need to discredit her before she destroys everything. Plans were drawn up for a counter-narrative, leaked stories painting Jasmine as unstable, bitter, desperate for attention. But fans weren't convinced. The more producers tried to silence her, the louder her voice seemed to echo online. Carly Red saw an opening and seized it. She hinted on social media that she too had stories about what went on behind the cameras. They told us what to say sometimes, she tweeted, but they couldn't tell us how to feel. Fans dissected her words, torn between outrage and curiosity. If Carly was admitting even part of it was staged, then Jasmine's claims carried even more weight. Rasheeda's mother remained fierce. I told you from day one, that girl was poison, she said, her voice ringing over the phone. Now look, she's tearing your life apart piece by piece. And you just sitting there letting it happen? Rasheeda broke down, her voice shaking. Mama, I don't even know what's true anymore. Was I fighting for my marriage? Or was I fighting for a storyline? The question lingered in the air, heavier than anything she had asked before. Fans began to demand answers directly. Outside Rasheeda's boutique, a group of young women showed up holding signs that read, "We deserve the truth." And was it all fake? Paparazzi swarmed the Frosts' home, desperate for a statement, snapping photos of Rasheeda in tears and KIRK hiding behind sunglasses. Every image went viral, further feeding the frenzy. Then came the twist that shook the scandal to its core. Jasmine dropped a voice recording during a live session. In it, a man's voice sounding eerily like KIRK laughed and said, "Man, if people knew how much of this was just for TV, they'd stop watching tomorrow." The crowd in the live exploded. Comments flew faster than Jasmine could read them. That's KIRK. He admitted it. It's over for them. Jasmine leaned into the camera, her smirk sharper than ever. Y'all thought I was lying. That's just one clip. Imagine what else I got. The Frost household erupted in chaos. Rasheeda threw her phone across the room, sobbing uncontrollably. It's your voice, KIRK. They're never going to believe us now. KIRK denied it, claiming the recording was doctored, but doubt hung in the air like smoke. Even Rasheeda wasn't sure anymore. I don't know what's real, KIRK. I don't know who you are anymore, she whispered, her voice hollow. The family was unraveling before the world's eyes. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the once unbreakable Frost legacy was splintering. And as Jasmine promised, the storm was only beginning, because the next set of documents, she teased, threatened to expose not just KIRK and Rasheeda, but the entire cast of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. The fallout from Jasmine's leaked audio recording was immediate and catastrophic. Entertainment news outlets replayed the clip on loop, with bold captions like "KIRK caught admitting it was all fake." Fans dissected every word, every pause, every laugh in the background, convinced they were hearing the raw truth. Within hours, the Frost family name trended across all platforms, but not in celebration and shame. Rasheeda hadn't left her bedroom in 2 days. The blinds were closed, her phone face down on the nightstand, buzzing with endless notifications. She stared at the ceiling, tears streaking silently down her face. I gave this show everything, she muttered, her voice cracking. My marriage, my dignity, my soul, and now they're laughing at me, saying it was all pretend. KIRK tried to comfort her, sitting on the edge of the bed. It's not true, Sheeda. They edited that clip. You know I'd never say something like that. But his words rang hollow. Deep down, even Rasheeda wondered if there were moments he had laughed about the chaos when the cameras stopped rolling. Meanwhile, Jasmine was riding a tidal wave of attention. She strutted through Atlanta with paparazzi flashing their cameras, smiling as if she had won a crown. I warned y'all, she told a group of reporters outside a restaurant. They played you, and I'm just showing the receipts. Don't shoot the messenger. She pulled out her phone, waving it for effect, teasing that more recordings were on the way. Other cast members began turning their backs on KIRK and Rasheeda, each trying to protect their own image. Young Jock went live on his radio show, declaring, "Look, I love my people, but if that audio is real, man, that's betrayal to the fans. They deserve better." Carly Red, always dramatic, posted a photo of herself looking shocked with the caption, "When you find out your life was just a storyline." Even K. Michelle, who hadn't been on the show for years, couldn't resist throwing shade. "This why I left," she tweeted. "I don't do fake." The fans grew more restless. Outside Rasheeda's boutique, the crowd doubled. Protesters held signs reading, "Justice for fans," and "Stop the lies." They chanted for answers, their voices echoing down the block. Inside, Rasheeda's staff tried to keep the doors locked, but the damage to her brand was already done. Sales plummeted, and sponsors quietly backed out of deals. For the first time, Rasheeda realized she might lose not just her reputation but her livelihood. Producers scrambled behind the scenes, debating whether to cut ties with the Frosts entirely. Mona Scott-Young called another late-night meeting, her voice sharp and controlled. "If Jasmine drops more, we're finished. We need to flip the narrative. We either silence her or spin this into a new season." Some argued to sue Jasmine, but others feared the lawsuits would only make her appear more credible. "She wants the attention," one producer sighed. "Every move we make gives her more power." The breaking point came when Jasmine released a second audio clip. This time, it was Rasheeda's voice. In the recording, she was allegedly heard saying, "As long as the check's clear, I'll cry on cue. They want drama, I'll give them drama." The clip spread like wildfire, shattering what little credibility Rasheeda had left. Fans flooded her social media with betrayal-laced comments. "So all those tears were for money. We supported you, defended you, and you were acting the whole time." The pain in the comments was palpable, raw and vicious. Rasheeda collapsed on the floor when she heard it, sobbing uncontrollably. "That wasn't me, KIRK. That wasn't me. They spliced it, they twisted it." But even KIRK looked shaken. "It sounds like you, Sheeda," he whispered. That doubt, coming from her own husband, broke something inside her. "After everything I've endured for you, you're gonna stand there and doubt me," she cried, her voice echoing off the walls. As the Frosts fell apart, Jasmine only tightened her grip. During yet another live, she looked directly into the camera, her smile razor. "Y'all wanted the truth, and I gave it to you. But this isn't just about KIRK and Rasheeda. Oh no, the whole cast had contracts. Every storyline, every fight, every tear was all planned. And guess what? I'm not done talking." The internet exploded. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and even loyal defenders of the show started turning their backs. Gossip blogs declared it the death of reality TV. But in Atlanta, whispers grew louder that Jasmine's next revelation would be the deadliest blow yet. Proof that the marriage itself had been a business arrangement, crafted for the cameras and backed by producers. Inside the Frost home, Rasheeda and KIRK sat in silence, the weight of the world pressing down on them. Their children avoided them, their phones wouldn't stop ringing, and their empire hung on the edge of collapse. "What if she's right?" Rasheeda whispered at last. KIRK looked away, unable to answer. And in that silence, their entire legacy teetered on the brink of ruin. The storm wasn't over. It was only building, preparing to tear down everything they had built, piece by piece. And when Jasmine's next move came, no one, not even the producers, would be ready for the destruction it would unleash. The city buzzed with whispers as if Atlanta itself couldn't keep quiet about the scandal. Jasmine had turned into the most polarizing figure in hip-hop gossip history. And every word she spoke tightened the noose around KIRK and Rasheeda's already fragile empire. Blogs live-streamed her rants. Fans stayed up past midnight waiting for her next tease. And the Frost household had become a fortress of silence. But silence, in this case, was more dangerous than any confession. Behind closed doors, Rasheeda struggled with a storm of emotions. Her reflection in the mirror didn't even look like her anymore. "They don't see me as Rasheeda the mother, Rasheeda the businesswoman," she whispered bitterly. "They see me as some puppet crying on cue." She ripped off her false lashes, tossing them angrily onto the counter. "How can I walk into my own boutique when people outside holding signs calling me fake?" Her voice trembled with exhaustion. KIRK, pacing like a caged animal, tried to think 2 steps ahead, but every move backfired. Lawyers warned that suing Jasmine would keep the scandal in the headlines longer. Producers urged him to wait it out, hoping the hype would fade. But KIRK knew Jasmine wasn't the type to fade. "She's enjoying this too much," he muttered. "She got what she always wanted, the power. And Jasmine used that power without hesitation." Her next live shattered the internet all over again. She sat at a glass table, documents spread around like a deck of cards, sipping champagne as if celebrating a victory. "See, people thought I was just some side chick," she laughed. "But the truth is, I was closer to the business than they want you to believe." She held up a page and zoomed in just enough for fans to see the words "character compensation" typed clearly in bold. "What's this?" "Oh, just proof that KIRK and Rasheeda got bonuses for keeping drama alive. Y'all cried for them, and they got paid for it." The live comments exploded. "Oh my god, they scammed us. So Rasheeda stayed with him for a check. This is worse than reality, it's fraud." Fans were livid, emotions ran high, and hashtags like #FrostFraud trended overnight. Other cast members couldn't stay quiet. Young Jock posted a video saying, "If I was acting, somebody owes me back pay." The joke landed, but the undertone wasn't funny. Carly Red went further, posting a cryptic tweet. "Sometimes the biggest lies are told with the biggest smiles." Speculation roared through fan communities. Was Carly confirming Jasmine's claims? Mona Scott Young herself broke her silence in a carefully worded statement. Love and hip-hop has always been about real people with real struggles. Any claims to the contrary are attempts to discredit the hard work of everyone involved. But fans weren't convinced. In fact, the statement only fueled suspicion. Notice how she didn't deny the contracts. One fan wrote, "She just danced around it." For Rasheeda, the betrayal was twofold. Not only was Jasmine exposing their secrets, but the very audience Rasheeda had leaned on for support was now turning against her. She scrolled through her Instagram, comments flooding every post with snake emojis, clown faces, and the word fake in all caps. Her heart sank when she saw fans commenting under pictures of her kids. Imagine growing up finding out your parents' whole life was scripted. One cruel comment read. She threw the phone aside and broke down. Why do they hate me? I didn't do this to them. I didn't. Kirk, though, was starting to crack in his own way. Late at night, he called an old producer, his voice low and desperate. "Tell me, she's bluffing. Tell me those papers ain't real." But the silence on the other end told him everything. The producers had their own secrets to keep, and Kirk realized that the empire he thought he built was actually a cage. Jasmine, meanwhile, had become addicted to the spotlight. Her Instagram lives drew in tens of thousands of viewers, more than some TV episodes. She leaned into the camera, eyes gleaming with mischief. "I haven't even told y'all about the prenup clause," she teased. "Oh, did I say too much?" Fans screamed in the comments, begging her to spill. She let out a sly laugh and ended the live, leaving everyone hungry for more. The media frenzy spread beyond Atlanta. National outlets picked up the story. Headlines read, "Reality show or scripted drama. Fans demand the truth from Frosts." Late-night hosts mocked the situation. One comedian joked, "If their vows were fake, does that mean the divorce will be scripted too?" Laughter erupted, but for Rasheeda, it was another knife in the back. Even the Frost children couldn't escape the fallout. Their classmates whispered, teachers looked at them with pity, and the family found themselves isolated. One evening, Rasheeda overheard her son whispering to a friend on the phone, "I don't even know what to believe anymore." Her heart shattered into pieces. Desperation led Rasheeda to confront Jasmine directly. She called her, voice trembling but fierce. "Why are you doing this? Haven't you done enough damage? You already ruined my marriage once, now you're destroying my whole life." Jasmine's response was ice cold. "You should have thought about that before you played me. This is payback, baby. And guess what? The fans are on my side now." She hung up, leaving Rasheeda shaking with rage. Kirk tried to intervene, but even he was powerless. Every night, Jasmine released something new: screenshots, audio, blurry documents, and every piece chipped away at the Frost's already fragile credibility. Fans who once defended Rasheeda now flooded to Jasmine's page, praising her for exposing the truth. The Frost empire was crumbling. Rasheeda's boutique sales hit rock bottom. Kirk's business deals fell through. Endorsements disappeared overnight. The couple who once prided themselves on resilience now faced a storm too strong to weather. And just when they thought it couldn't get worse, Jasmine promised her next revelation would be the nail in the coffin. She leaned into the camera during a live, her voice dripping with triumph. "Y'all thought the wedding was bad. Wait until I show you what was really in the contract about their marriage. Atlanta ain't ready for this one." The world braced itself. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. But what Jasmine was about to reveal next would leave scars so deep that not even time could heal them. The world of hip-hop gossip had never seen chaos at this level. Every corner of Atlanta seemed to pulse with one question. What else did Jasmine have hidden in that stack of papers? Her last live had promised the nail in the coffin, and that phrase alone sent shockwaves through fans, blogs, and even mainstream media. Everyone wanted to know, was the marriage itself nothing but a storyline, cooked up in boardrooms and sold as reality to millions of loyal viewers? The Frost household was a war zone. Rasheeda refused to eat, refused to sleep, refused even to look at Kirk for more than a few seconds. She sat curled up on the couch, the glow of her phone illuminating the despair on her face. "They're calling me a fraud, Kirk," she whispered. "Every comment, every message, people saying I sold my soul for money. They don't see my pain anymore. They see a clown." Tears rolled down her cheeks, but her voice was laced with fury. "And you did this to me. You brought her into our lives, and now she's tearing me apart." Kirk tried to defend himself, his voice low and tired. "Sheeda, you think I wanted this? Jasmine ain't playing fair. She's twisting everything. That marriage contract ain't what it looks like." But Rasheeda snapped, her voice sharp as glass. "Then tell me what it is, Kirk." Tell me what was in those papers, because right now, I don't even know if the vows we said were real." The silence that followed was unbearable. Meanwhile, Jasmine was basking in the glow of her newfound fame. She strutted into an Atlanta club, paparazzi flashes blinding her as fans screamed her name. For years, she had been painted as the villain, the other woman, the side chick. But now, she had flipped the script. People weren't booing her, they were cheering her for exposing the truth. She laughed with her friends, sipping champagne, watching the frosts crumble in real time. "They thought they could make me the bad guy forever," she told a reporter who shoved a microphone in her face. "Now look who the real liars are." The next day, Jasmine went live again. This time, she was deadly serious. No champagne, no makeup, just her, in a hoodie, hair tied back, papers spread across the table. "I told y'all, the wedding wasn't what you thought," she said, her tone calm but cutting. "These contracts don't just cover drama for TV, they cover their entire marriage. The producers had stakes in it. Every fight, every reconciliation, every tear was written down, approved, and paid for." She held up a page close to the camera. Though blurry, fans claimed they could see words like union for television purposes and public narrative. The internet erupted. Hashtags like #FakeFrostWedding and #marriage for ratings shot to the top of Twitter. Fans were livid. "So all these years we defended her, and it was just acting." One wrote, "I want my tears back," said another. Others, however, defended Rasheeda, arguing she was also a victim. What if she was forced into this by KIRK and the producers? One fan suggested. The division among fans was brutal, leaving the Frost's once loyal base fractured and hostile. Carly Red poured more gasoline on the fire. She posted an old picture of her and Rasheeda at the wedding with the caption, "If only y'all knew what was going on behind the cameras that day." The comments section exploded with speculation. Did Carly know the truth all along? Was she also in on the script? Her refusal to clarify only kept fans hooked, desperate for answers. Producers panicked. Mona Scott-Young reportedly called Jasmine directly, begging her to stop. "You're not just destroying them, you're destroying me," Mona pleaded. But Jasmine refused. "Maybe you should have thought about that before you treated me like I was disposable," she hissed. Now everybody gonna see the receipts. Inside the Frost home, the pressure mounted. Their kids begged them to make it stop. "Mom, Dad, please can't you just tell the truth?" one of them said through tears. Rasheeda broke down, hugging her child tightly. "I don't even know what the truth is anymore, baby, I don't." KIRK sat in silence, guilt written all over his face, knowing that whether or not Jasmine was twisting the narrative, the damage was irreversible. Then Jasmine dropped the ultimate bomb. She claimed to have a video recording of a producer coaching KIRK before a scene. "Remember, when Rasheeda walks in, you need to look guilty, but not too guilty. Don't overdo it." The alleged clip spread like wildfire, replayed millions of times in less than 24 hours. For fans, it was the final straw. "That's not reality, that's Hollywood." One comment read, "We've been lied to for a decade." The Frost brand collapsed overnight. Rasheeda's boutique shut its doors temporarily after protesters gathered outside. KIRK's business ventures dried up, investors pulling out one after another. Their social media accounts were flooded with hate. Even their closest friends in the industry distanced themselves, afraid of being dragged into the scandal. But what hurt most was the betrayal Rasheeda felt inside her own home. Sitting across from KIRK at the dinner table, her eyes bloodshot, she whispered, "I don't know if I'll ever forgive you. Not for Jasmine, not for the cheating, but for letting me live a lie so big that now I don't even recognize myself." Her words hung heavy in the air, and KIRK had no response. Fans were shocked. Emotions ran higher than ever. The family was left divided, the empire destroyed. And Jasmine, she had become the queen of chaos, promising one last revelation that, in her own words, would end KIRK and Rasheeda forever. The world waited with bated breath, knowing that whatever came next would be the most explosive twist of all. The internet was on fire, and Jasmine was the one holding the match. After dropping the alleged producer coaching clip, she had the world eating out of her hand. Blogs dissected every second of the recording. Fans posted reaction videos in tears or rage. And even mainstream news covered the scandal like it was a political bombshell. The Frosts, once seen as survivors of reality TV's most turbulent waters, were now painted as frauds who had cashed checks while selling fans a lie. Rasheeda felt like a prisoner in her own home. She hadn't stepped outside in days, too afraid of cameras and fans who once loved her but now hurled insults. Her boutique's glass window had been smashed with spray-painted words scrawled across. "Fake." She sat on her couch, wrapped in a blanket, scrolling through endless comments. Every cruel message clawed deeper into her chest. "They don't believe me, Kirk," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "They think I've been lying to them my whole life." Kirk tried to maintain control, but he was crumbling too. Business partners pulled out of deals, endorsement opportunities evaporated, and his phone never stopped buzzing with reporters demanding a statement. "If we don't fight back, we're finished," he muttered, pacing the living room. "We need to go public, deny everything, call Jasmine a liar." But Rasheeda snapped, her voice trembling. "And what if she drops more proof? What if she plays the next clip? Every time we open our mouths, she's 2 steps ahead." Meanwhile, Jasmine sat in her apartment with her phone propped up on a tripod, relishing the chaos. Her once quiet profile now had millions of followers, her lives drawing more viewers than primetime TV. She spoke slowly, with deliberate venom. "Y'all want the truth. The truth is, Kirk and Rasheeda signed contracts that made their marriage a storyline. Don't believe me? Wait until I show you the clause about their prenup." Her eyes sparkled with triumph. "This next piece, it's the one that ends everything." Fans flooded her comments with fire emojis, begging her to drop it immediately. Carly Red poured salt in the wound by posting an old throwback photo of Rasheeda in a wedding dress, captioned, "Memories." But were they real? The post set off a firestorm, with fans demanding Carly spill what she knew. Young Jock jumped into the mix on his radio show, half joking but with a sting in his tone. "Man, if my whole life was scripted, somebody owes me Oscar money." His co-hosts laughed, but Jock's side-eye to the camera told fans he was serious. The Frost children, innocent bystanders, suffered the most. At school, whispers followed them down hallways. Friends turned cold. Teachers looked at them with pity. One of Rasheeda's sons slammed his backpack down one night, shouting, "Why didn't you just tell us? Why didn't you tell us it was all fake?" Rasheeda broke down, sobbing as she hugged him, whispering, "Baby, it wasn't all fake. Mommy loved. Mommy cried. Mommy fought, but maybe the cameras made it worse." But even as she said it, doubt lingered in her heart. The producers were in crisis mode. Mona Scott Young held frantic conference calls, her voice sharp and cold. "This show is bleeding out. If Jasmine drops the prenup clause, sponsors will walk, networks will sue, and this entire franchise will collapse. Handle her now." But Jasmine was untouchable. Every threat of legal action only made her stronger, fueling her image as the underdog exposing a corrupt empire. Fans chanted her name online, calling her the truth teller, the whistleblower of reality TV. Then came the bombshell live stream that shattered everything. Jasmine sat in front of the camera, holding up a thick packet of papers. She flipped to a page and read aloud. Clause 14. Union for television purposes. The marriage between Kirk Frost and Rasheeda Buckner was entered into with knowledge and consent of production for storyline development. She looked straight into the lens, her voice steady. "So tell me, was that love, or was it business?" The internet broke. Fans flooded timelines with disbelief. Their whole marriage was fake. "I defended them for years, and this is what it comes down to. We've been played like fools." Tears flowed in reaction videos as longtime viewers felt betrayed. The Frosts, who had built their empire on the narrative of love and resilience, were now accused of selling lies for profit. Rasheeda collapsed when she heard Jasmine's words. "She just erased everything," she sobbed, shaking uncontrollably. "Every sacrifice I made, every humiliation I endured, it's gone. People think it was all a game." She screamed at Kirk through tears. "Do you see what you've done? You destroyed me. You destroyed us." Kirk sat in silence, his head in his hands, the weight of Jasmine's revelation crushing him. The fallout spread beyond Atlanta. National media framed it as the collapse of reality TV's greatest love story. Talk shows debated whether all reality shows were scripted. Fans demanded refunds from streaming platforms. Protesters camped outside VH1's headquarters, chanting, "Tell the truth." It was bigger than Kirk and Rasheeda now. It was about the credibility of an entire genre. Jasmine, sitting at the center of the chaos, smiled as the world burned. "I told y'all I had receipts," she said during another live, "and trust me, I'm not done yet. There's still more to come." The family was shattered, the fans were outraged, and emotions ran higher than ever. The Frost Empire had fallen. And now the question wasn't whether Jasmine had destroyed them. The question was, what else would she reveal to bury them even deeper? The night after Jasmine's Clause 14 revelation, Atlanta felt like it was under a spell. The city buzzed with conversations about Kirk and Rasheeda. Strangers in barbershops and salons dissecting every word of the alleged contract. Fans who had grown up watching the couple's roller coaster journey were now burning with anger, posting clips of their favorite scenes with captions like "Can't believe I cried over this fake mess" and "Every tear wasted." The betrayal was personal. The Frosts had been family to millions, and now they were seen as performers in an endless drama that wasn't real at all. Inside the Frost home, silence ruled. Rasheeda sat in the kitchen, staring blankly at a cold cup of coffee. Her once bright eyes looked dull, lifeless. "You know what hurts the most?" she said suddenly, her voice soft but trembling. Kirk looked up from across the table, wary. "It's not the fans. It's not even Jasmine. It's that I don't know anymore what was real between us and what was staged." "Did you ever mean it, Kirk? Or was it always business?" Kirk's face twisted with guilt. "Sheeda, don't say that. I meant it. I still mean it." But Rasheeda cut him off with a bitter laugh. "Then why does it sound like I was married to a contract? Not to you." Her words sliced through the air, leaving Kirk speechless. Meanwhile, Jasmine reveled in her newfound power. She wasn't just the side chick anymore, she was the voice of reckoning. Her Instagram live numbers skyrocketed, each broadcast pulling in more viewers than some TV networks. She leaned into the camera one night, her tone almost gleeful. "They called me bitter, they called me messy. But guess what? I'm the one who told y'all the truth. I'm the one who gave y'all the receipts. And if they keep playing with me, I got more pages to show." Fans flooded the comments with adoration. "Queen Jasmine, expose them all." But others grew uneasy, realizing she wasn't stopping with Kirk and Rasheeda. She hinted at other cast members' secrets, other contracts, other staged betrayals. It wasn't just the Frosts at risk now, it was the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise. Carly Red, ever the opportunist, jumped in with cryptic posts. She uploaded a video of herself sipping tea with the caption, "When you been new but stayed quiet." Fans went wild, demanding she spill the details. Young Jock couldn't resist chiming in on his morning show. "If Rasheeda's wedding was a storyline, then my whole life been improv comedy." His laugh was loud, but his eyes looked weary. The scandal was dragging everyone down with it. The producers scrambled harder than ever. Mona Scotchung held back-to-back meetings, lawyers flooding the room with papers. "If Jasmine leaks anything else, we're done," Mona snapped. "We'll lose the network, the sponsors, everything. Someone needs to shut her down." But no one could touch Jasmine now. She had the fans, the evidence, and the spotlight. Every legal threat only made her look stronger. Back in the Frost household, Rasheeda reached her breaking point. She confronted Kirk late one night, her voice raw from crying. "Tell me the truth, Kirk. Did you sign us into this marriage for TV? Did you sell me out for a storyline?" Kirk tried to avoid her gaze. "It wasn't like that, answer me," she screamed, slamming her hands on the table. He froze, the silence louder than any confession. Rasheeda collapsed into a chair, sobbing. "I wasted my life on you. On this, and now the whole world is laughing at me." Kirk finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "I thought it was a way to protect us, to make sure we had money, security. I didn't know it would come to this." But his words only deepened Rasheeda's despair. "You didn't protect me, Kirk, you destroyed me." The fallout spread wider. Sponsors officially cut ties with Rasheeda's businesses. The boutique's doors stayed locked, a closed until further notice sign taped to the glass. Fans camped outside, chanting fake, as paparazzi snapped photos of the chaos. Online hashtags like #CancelTheFrosts and #RealityFraud dominated timelines. Jasmine, watching it all unfold, smiled into her camera during yet another live. "I told y'all the empire was built on lies. And when you build on lies, it always comes crashing down." She paused, then added with a smirk, "But I ain't even showed you the prenup yet." That single line set the internet ablaze again. Blogs speculated wildly about what the prenup might contain. Some claimed it forced Rasheeda to stay with Kirk for a certain number of years, no matter the cheating. Others swore it tied her business success directly to the show. Fans were desperate, hungry for the next piece of evidence. Rasheeda's family begged her to walk away. Her mother called, her voice stern. "Baby, you can't stay in this marriage. Not after this. It's killing you." But Rasheeda shook her head, whispering, "If I leave now, it looks like Jasmine won. It looks like she destroyed me." Her mother's reply cut deep. "Baby, she already did." At that moment, Rasheeda realized the truth. No matter what she did, Jasmine had stripped her of control. Fans were shocked. The family was divided. Emotions ran higher than ever. And the world waited breathlessly for Jasmine to drop the next bomb, one that promised to bury Kirk and Rasheeda for good. The night after Jasmine hinted at the prenup clause, Atlanta felt like it was suffocating under a blanket of rumors. Every corner, every club, Every radio station buzzed with one question. What's in the Bloggers were live all night, dissecting screenshots, speculating about hidden clauses, and digging through old interviews. Some swore they remembered Kirk joking years ago about business being business, and now those old jokes looked like confessions. Others replayed Rasheeda's past emotional breakdowns, asking if they had been genuine or just well-rehearsed performances. In the Frost household, the silence was broken only by Rasheeda's quiet sobs echoing through the walls. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, her hands shaking as she clutched her phone. Her feed was flooded with memes mocking her vows. Edited clips of her wedding with laugh tracks over them, fans writing, "Cue the director, Kirk, look guilty in 3, 2, 1. She scrolled until she couldn't anymore, her eyes swollen from tears. "They're laughing at me like I'm a clown," she whispered. Kirk stood near the doorway, unsure if he should approach. His wife looked like a shell of herself. "Sheeda," he began, but Rasheeda cut him off sharply. Don't you dare say my name, like you still deserve to call me that." Her voice cracked, rage and heartbreak colliding. "I stood by you when the world called me stupid. I defended you when you dragged me through affairs, lies, babies, but this. You sold our marriage, Kirk. You sold me. And now the whole world thinks I'm fake." Kirk ran a hand over his face, guilt etched deep into his expression. "I didn't mean for it to be like this. It was supposed to protect us. It was supposed to secure our future." His words sounded hollow, rehearsed, almost as if he were reciting from the very contracts that now haunted them. Rasheeda shot him a look of pure disgust. "Protect us? You call this protection? My kids can't go to school without being taunted. My mama won't even answer the phone 'cause she's tired of defending me. You destroyed everything we had left." Meanwhile, Jasmine prepared for the livestream that would detonate the final bomb. She had her ring lights perfectly positioned, the prenup contract laid out dramatically in front of her. Her nails tapped against the glass table as she smirked at the camera before hitting go live. Within minutes, tens of thousands flooded in. Emojis flew across the screen, comments rolling faster than she could read. "Drop it, sis. End them once and for all. We need the truth." Jasmine leaned close to the camera, her eyes gleaming. "You see this right here," she said, lifting a page. "This ain't just any this is the real deal, the contract that proves Rasheeda's whole marriage was nothing but a storyline. Y'all thought those tears were real. Guess what, they were scheduled." She began to read aloud. Clause 22, both parties agree to maintain marital union for a minimum of 10 seasons under VH1 production oversight, regardless of personal grievances or extramarital activity. Compensation adjustments subject to storyline engagement and public interest. The live erupted. Fans spammed the comments with shock. 10 seasons. So she couldn't leave even if she wanted to. This is slavery, not marriage. Others defended Rasheeda, realizing she might have been trapped, so she was stuck with him for the check. "This makes me feel sorry for her." But Jasmine wasn't finished. She flipped another page with theatrical flair. Clause 30, infidelity clauses shall be used as storyline pivots and are not grounds for termination of union. She smirked. Translation: Kirk could cheat 100 times, and Rasheeda still couldn't leave because the contract said so. The internet exploded. Fans screamed in rage, shock, and heartbreak. Old clips of Kirk's cheating scandals resurfaced with captions like "scripted pain" and "VH1 approved." Reaction videos poured in, influencers crying on camera, saying, "I can't believe I defended Rasheeda all these years just for it to be part of her job." Others shifted sympathy toward her. She was forced to stay. She was trapped. Maybe she ain't as stupid as we thought. Maybe she was a prisoner. Back at the Frost home, Rasheeda dropped her phone to the floor, her hands over her face. "They know now," she sobbed. "The whole world knows I was stuck with you 'cause of a piece of paper." Kirk tried to deny it. "Sheeda, she's twisting it. That clause didn't mean," but Rasheeda's scream cut him off. "Stop lying to me. Stop lying to the world. You signed my life away, Kirk. You signed my pain into a paycheck." Her cries shook the house. The children stood in the hallway, eyes wide, hearing every word. Kirk's silence told them everything. The truth was undeniable, the betrayal complete. Outside, protesters gathered again, this time larger than ever. They held signs reading, "Free Rasheeda and cancel VH1 lies." The media swarmed cameras, capturing the chaos as fans demanded answers. Reporters camped outside the Frost home, shouting questions into the night. "Rasheeda, were you forced to stay with Kirk? Kirk, did you sign the contract?" Their silence only deepened the frenzy. Producers were in absolute panic. Mona Scott Young raged in private calls, slamming her fist on the table. "This is out of control. If the prenup gets verified, it's not just the Frosts, it's the whole franchise that goes down. Sponsors cut ties in real time, contracts were frozen, and networks whispered about pulling Love and Hip Hop off the air entirely. Jasmine, glowing in the spotlight, ended her live with one final dagger. She leaned close, her smirk icy. You wanted reality? Well, this is reality. KIRK and Rasheeda sold y'all a lie, and now, their empire is finished. She ended the stream, leaving the internet in stunned silence, only to erupt seconds later with rage and disbelief. Rasheeda sat on the floor of her bedroom, clutching a pillow, rocking back and forth. They hate me, mama. They all hate me. Her mother's voice on the phone was steady but pained. No, baby, they don't hate you. They hate the lie. But you let that lie become your truth. And now you're paying the price. KIRK sat in the corner, head in his hands, realizing that for the first time in his life, he couldn't talk his way out. No apology, no spin, no storyline could save him now. The Frost name, the Frost legacy, the Frost empire, it was all ashes. And Jasmine, she was crowned the queen of destruction, her followers multiplying by the millions. She had done what no cheating scandal, no fight, no storyline ever could. She had ended KIRK and Rasheeda for good. But as the city burned with rumors and the Frosts fell apart, whispers began that Jasmine wasn't just exposing them, she was preparing to take their place. A new empire was rising from the ashes, and Jasmine wanted the throne. The prenup leak was the turning point. Before, the Frosts had been ridiculed, doubted, and dragged through endless scandals. But now they were officially finished in the eyes of the public. The clause about a 10-season minimum and infidelity written in black and white shattered any lingering hope. For fans, there was no coming back. For Rasheeda, there was no forgiveness. And for KIRK, there was no way to spin the truth. Atlanta woke up the next morning to headlines screaming across every blog and television network. KIRK and Rasheeda's marriage was a contract. Fake love exposed. Fans betrayed by reality lies. The betrayal was treated like a national scandal. Morning talk shows debated whether all reality television should be regulated. Commentators on radio stations argued if the Frosts had committed fraud by selling fiction as reality. Memes flooded the internet, mocking KIRK and Rasheeda's vows. One viral post replayed their wedding kiss with circus music in the background, captioned, "Best performance by a married couple in a scripted series." Inside the Frost mansion, it was chaos. Paparazzi lined the streets. Drones buzzed overhead. Reporters shouted questions from the gates. The family hadn't stepped outside in days. Rasheeda hid in the bedroom, blinds closed, crying until her voice was hoarse. She looked at her reflection in the mirror, eyes puffy, makeup smeared, and whispered, "They don't see me anymore. They don't see Rasheeda. They see a lie." Her phone buzzed with another notification, a clip of Jasmine laughing during a live stream, saying, "And y'all thought she was goals. She was just playing her role." That laughter haunted her. She hurled the phone across the room, collapsing to the floor. KIRK stood in the doorway, looking like a ghost of himself. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in his throat. Finally, Rasheeda turned to him, her voice like broken glass. "You ruined me, KIRK. Not Jasmine. Not the producers. You put your signature on that paper. You turned my life into a paycheck." KIRK sank into a chair, his hands covering his face. "I thought I was protecting us. I thought I was securing money for the kids, for the future. I didn't know it would come to this." But Rasheeda's laugh was hollow, bitter. "Protecting us. You chained me to you. You locked me in a prison disguised as a marriage. And now the world knows. Do you understand? The world knows." Meanwhile, Jasmine basked in her victory. She went live again. The prenup pages fanned out in front of her like trophies. She spoke calmly, confidently, as tens of thousands tuned in. "See? When they called me a liar, when they called me messy, I kept my mouth shut. I let them paint me as the villain. But now y'all see who the real villains are. They made fools of every one of you. And me. I'm just the messenger." Fans flooded her comments with praise. "Queen Jasmine. Expose them all." She smirked at the camera, sipping her wine. "And trust me, there's still more." Her numbers skyrocketed. Brands reached out with offers. Influencers begged to collaborate. Blogs called her the most powerful woman in reality TV. Jasmine wasn't just exposing lies, she was building an empire on the ashes of the Frosts. She hinted about starring in her own show. She posted cryptic stories about taking the throne. And fans, hungry for someone real, lined up behind her. Other cast members scrambled to protect themselves. Carly Red dropped hints without revealing too much, posting a photo with the caption, "We all knew. Some of us just kept quiet." Young Jock defended himself on his radio show, insisting, "My drama was real. My pain was real, but the damage was done." If KIRK and Rasheeda's marriage was scripted, fans assumed everything was scripted. The entire franchise teetered on collapse. VH1 executives held emergency meetings. Mona Scott-Young was furious, her empire slipping through her fingers. "We built this brand on authenticity," she shouted, slamming her hand on the table. "And now it's all burning because of one bitter woman with a stack of papers." Lawyers scrambled, drafting cease and desist letters. But they knew the truth. It was too late. Public opinion had shifted. Jasmine owned the narrative. Back in her boutique, Rasheeda finally broke down completely. The doors were closed, shelves empty, customers gone. She sat alone in the dark, scrolling through comments on her latest post. Every message was venom. "You're fake. All those tears were acting. Shame on you." She whispered to herself, "I'm done. I can't fight anymore." Her mother found her there, curled up on the floor. "Baby, get up," she said firmly, kneeling beside her. "Don't let that girl win." But Rasheeda shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "She already won. Mama. She took everything from me. My marriage, my brand, my dignity. It's gone." KIRK tried to rally her, but even his words fell flat. His voice cracked with desperation. "Sheeda, please, don't let this destroy us. We can fight back. We can prove them wrong." But Rasheeda's glare stopped him cold. "Prove them wrong? With what, KIRK? With more lies, more contracts? I can't do it anymore. I won't." Meanwhile, Jasmine's star rose higher. She signed deals, posed for magazine covers, and hinted that she was negotiating her own reality series. This time, she teased, "It won't be scripted." Her followers ate it up, praising her as the savior of reality television, the woman brave enough to expose the truth. For KIRK and Rasheeda, there was no saving face. Their empire lay in ruins. Their family was fractured. Their fans were gone. And the cruelest twist of all, the woman they had once dismissed as nothing more than a scandal was now sitting on their throne. Jasmine had won, but as the dust settled, whispers began to spread that Jasmine herself might not be as innocent as she claimed. Rumors swirled that she too had signed contracts, that her truth was just another storyline. The same fans who crowned her queen now wondered, was this exposure real, or was it just the next chapter of a never-ending script? The saga was far from over. The frosts had fallen, Jasmine was rising, and the world was left asking the question that cut deeper than any contract: was anything real at all? The prenup revelations had turned Atlanta upside down. But the fire didn't stop there. It spread wider, hotter, consuming everything in its path. Jasmine was sitting on top of the world, hailed as the truth teller, the whistleblower, the woman who tore down the empire that once seemed untouchable. But in the same way the Frosts had once been idolized only to be dragged into the mud, Jasmine soon discovered that power in the world of reality TV was never stable. It was volatile, fragile, and always on the brink of collapse. Her Instagram numbers soared past the millions. Every live session pulled in fans from across the globe: New York, London, Lagos, Dubai. Each viewer desperate to hear the next revelation. Her name trended daily. Magazines featured her on their covers with titles like "The Woman Who Ended Love and Hip Hop" and "From Side Chick to Superstar." She strutted through Atlanta with paparazzi chasing her, her friends cheering, and strangers shouting her name like she was a celebrity. But with fame came suspicion. Whispers began to surface. If Jasmine had all these contracts, doesn't that mean she signed one too? Blogs began digging. Old clips resurfaced, showing her smiling knowingly during confrontations. Her expressions just a little too polished, her reactions too perfectly timed. A fan account posted side-by-side comparisons of Jasmine's emotional breakdowns on camera with leaked coaching notes allegedly from producers. The resemblance was uncanny. Suddenly, people asked, was Jasmine exposing the truth, or was she just writing a new script for herself? Back in the Frost household, the destruction was complete. The boutique was closed indefinitely, endorsements had vanished, and the Frost family name was synonymous with fraud. Rasheeda barely spoke. She sat in the corner of the living room, rocking slowly, whispering to herself. KIRK tried to reach her, his voice trembling. "Sheeda, I know I messed up. I know this looks bad, but we can rebuild. We always rebuild." She turned to him, her eyes hollow, her voice sharp. "Not this time, KIRK. You broke me. You broke us. And now you want to talk about rebuilding. With what? With lies. With ashes." Their children overheard everything. One of them burst out, "Why can't you just admit it? Why can't you just tell the truth?" The words hit harder than any headline. Rasheeda broke down again, sobbing into her hands. "Because I don't even know what the truth is anymore. she confessed. That confession went viral after a family friend leaked it to the blogs. Fans were heartbroken, some pitying Rasheeda, others mocking her for admitting defeat. Meanwhile, Jasmine continued her victory tour. She appeared on podcasts, giving slick interviews. "I didn't ruin them," she told one host. "They ruined themselves. I just told the truth." She smirked at the camera, the image of a woman in control. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Former friends began to speak up, claiming Jasmine was manipulating the narrative. "She's not innocent," one anonymous source told a gossip site. "She was in those meetings too. She knew the show was scripted. She's acting like a saint now, but she played her part." The tide began to shift. Fans who once hailed Jasmine as their queen now scrutinized her every move. "If she really cared about the truth," one commenter wrote, "why'd she wait until now to expose it? Why when she wasn't getting paid anymore?" Another added, "She's not a whistleblower, she's just bitter she didn't get her check." The very same internet that had crowned her began to question her motives. Carly Red seized the moment. She went live, her tone dripping with smug satisfaction. "See, the thing about snakes is they'll eventually bite themselves." Fans exploded with comments, begging her to explain. She smirked but said no more, letting the speculation grow like wildfire. VH1 executives, desperate to save face, saw an opportunity. Rumors spread that they were considering a spin-off featuring Jasmine, but the idea backfired immediately. Fans were divided. Some swore they'd watch just to see her chaos unfold. Others down. But the fire didn't stop there, it spread wider, hotter, consuming everything in its path. Jasmine was sitting on top of the world, hailed as the truth-teller, the whistleblower, the woman who tore down the empire that once seemed untouchable. But in the same way the Frosts had once been idolized only to be dragged into the mud. Jasmine soon discovered that power in the world of reality TV was never stable. It was volatile, fragile, and always on the brink of collapse. Her Instagram numbers soared past the millions. Every live session pulled in fans from across the globe: New York, London, Lagos, Dubai, each viewer desperate to hear the next revelation. Her name trended daily. Magazines featured her on their covers with titles like "The Woman Who Ended Love in Hip Hop" and "From Side Chick to Superstar." She strutted through Atlanta with paparazzi chasing her, her friends cheering, and strangers shouting her name like she was a celebrity. But with fame came suspicion. Whispers began to surface. If Jasmine had all these contracts, doesn't that mean she signed one too? Blogs began digging. Old clips resurfaced, showing her smiling knowingly during confrontations. Her expressions just a little too polished, her reactions too perfectly timed. A fan account posted side-by-side comparisons of Jasmine's emotional breakdowns on camera with leaked coaching notes allegedly from producers. The resemblance was uncanny. Suddenly, people asked, was Jasmine exposing the truth, or was she just writing a new script for herself? Back in the Frost household, the destruction was complete. The boutique was closed indefinitely, endorsements had vanished, and the Frost family name was synonymous with fraud. Rasheeda barely spoke. She sat in the corner of the living room, rocking slowly, whispering to herself. KIRK tried to reach her, his voice trembling. "Sheeda, I know I messed up. I know this looks bad, but we can rebuild. We always rebuild." She turned to him, her eyes hollow, her voice sharp. "Not this time. KIRK, you broke me. You broke us, and now you want to talk about rebuilding. With what? With lies? With ashes?" Their children overheard everything. One of them burst out, "Why can't you just admit it? Why can't you just tell the truth?" The words hit harder than any headline. Rasheeda broke down again, sobbing into her hands. "Because I don't even know what the truth is anymore," she confessed. That confession went viral after a family friend leaked it to the blogs. Fans were heartbroken, some pitying Rasheeda, others mocking her for admitting defeat. Meanwhile, Jasmine continued her victory tour. She appeared on podcasts, giving slick interviews. "I didn't ruin them," she told one host. "They ruined themselves. I just told the truth." She smirked at the camera, the image of a woman in control. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Former friends began to speak up, claiming Jasmine was manipulating the narrative. "She's not innocent," one anonymous source told a gossip site. "She was in those meetings too. She knew the show was scripted. She's acting like a saint now, but she played her part." The tide began to shift. Fans who once hailed Jasmine as their queen now scrutinized her every move. "If she really cared about the truth," one commenter wrote, "why'd she wait until now to expose it? Why when she wasn't getting paid anymore?" Another added, "She's not a whistleblower, she's just bitter she didn't get her check." The very same internet that had crowned her began to question her motives. Carly Red seized the moment. She went live, her tone dripping with smug satisfaction. See, the thing about snakes is they'll eventually bite themselves. Fans exploded with comments, begging her to explain. She smirked but said no more, letting the speculation grow like wildfire. VH1 executives, desperate to save face, saw an opportunity. Rumors spread that they were considering a spin-off featuring Jasmine, but the idea backfired immediately. Fans were divided. Some swore they'd watch just to see her chaos unfold. Others declared they would boycott, saying Jasmine was no different from KIRK and Rasheeda, just another player in the scripted circus. The network hesitated, unsure if Jasmine was a savior or a liability. Back in her apartment, Jasmine scrolled through comments, her smile fading. For the first time, she saw doubts creeping into her once loyal base. She's dragging this for clout. If she signed contracts too, then she's no better. She slammed her phone down, her chest heaving with anger. They begged me for the truth, she hissed to herself. I gave it to them. And now they want to turn on me. The Frosts watched this shift with quiet satisfaction. For the first time in weeks, Rasheeda lifted her head, her voice weak but steady. See, KIRK. She's not untouchable. The same fans who built her up will tear her down, just like they did us. KIRK, though beaten down, managed a faint smirk. Let her taste what it feels like. But the satisfaction was short-lived. Jasmine wasn't about to let her throne slip away. She announced a new live, hyping it up as the reveal that proves I was the victim too. She promised to show documents that allegedly tied her into the same contracts, claiming she had been manipulated just like Rasheeda. Y'all think I was part of it? Watch tonight, you'll see I was just another pawn. The world braced itself. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the Frosts sat in silence, waiting to see if Jasmine's empire would crumble just as theirs had. Because, in the ruthless world of reality TV, no one stayed on top for long, and the next downfall was always just one revelation away. Jasmine's announcement of a final truth shook the internet like thunder rolling over Atlanta. Blogs went wild, podcasts teased emergency episodes, and fans cleared their schedules to watch what was being called the live of the decade. She promised to reveal proof that she wasn't just the whistleblower but a victim herself, bound by contracts the same way Rasheeda had been. The irony wasn't lost on anyone after weeks of tearing the Frosts to shreds. Jasmine was now stepping into the same light of pity she had denied Rasheeda. The Frost household braced in silence. Rasheeda sat on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the muted TV where headlines screamed her humiliation over and over. Do you think they'll finally see the truth? She asked bitterly, her voice almost gone. KIRK didn't answer right away. His face was hard, his jaw clenched. Doesn't matter what she says now. The damage is done. But his eyes betrayed a flicker of hope, hope that Jasmine's empire might crumble under the weight of her own revelations. That night, Jasmine went live. Tens of thousands tuned in within minutes, the numbers climbing faster than any reality TV premiere. She looked different this time. No makeup, no champagne, just her in a sweatshirt, hair pulled back, eyes red as if she'd been crying. I need y'all to hear me. She began softly, her voice trembling. Yes, I signed contracts too. Yes, I played my role. But don't get it twisted, I didn't do it for fame. I was manipulated. I was promised security. They told me if I played along, I'd be protected. But when it all blew up, they left me with nothing. She held up a folder, pulling out papers that looked eerily similar to the ones she had shown before. This right here. It's my contract. They treated me like a character, not a human. They told me to be the villain, to stir drama, to keep KIRK close so the ratings stayed high. They made me the side chick for a storyline. Her voice cracked as she read aloud. Character position, secondary antagonist. Storyline purpose, destabilize marital union. Compensation tied to episode appearances. She threw the page down in disgust. They scripted my life, and then they blamed me when y'all hated me. The comments exploded. Fans were torn. Some rallied behind her again. She was used just like Rasheeda. She's exposing the producers now, not just the Frosts. Others weren't buying it, so she played along until it didn't benefit her anymore. You can't call yourself a victim if you cashed the checks too. The divide cut deep, and the live stream became a battleground of emotions. In the Frost home, Rasheeda's face twisted with fury. Now she wants to play the victim. After she dragged me through the mud, after she laughed while I lost everything, now she wants sympathy. She slammed her fist on the table, tears streaming. She's no victim. She's a snake. KIRK sat quietly, his voice low. Maybe now people will see, she ain't no saint either. But the bitterness in his tone couldn't hide his fear. If Jasmine dragged the producers into this mess. The backlash could spiral into lawsuits, criminal charges, and an industry-wide collapse. Indeed, the producers were panicking. Mona Scott-Young's phone rang nonstop. Networks demanded answers. Sponsors threatened to walk permanently. Lawyers huddled in dark offices, combing through contracts, debating whether to sue Jasmine for breach of confidentiality or cut their losses and let her burn everything down. If she keeps talking, the franchise is dead, one executive said flatly. Mona, exhausted but calculating, whispered, maybe it already is. Meanwhile, the fans' rage grew hotter. Protests erupted outside VH1's headquarters. Fans holding signs that read "Stop selling us lies and justice." For reality TV, some demanded refunds for streaming subscriptions. Others swore they'd never watch another episode of Love and Hip-Hop. What had once been one of the most loyal fan bases in reality television now turned into its greatest enemy. Jasmine doubled down. They wanted me to be the villain. Fine, I'll be the villain who tells the truth. And if they want to come for me, let them. I got more tapes. I got meetings recorded. I got proof the producers staged every fight, every affair, every reconciliation. She leaned into the camera, her voice cold. If I go down, I'm taking the whole house with me. The Frosts sat in stunned silence watching the live. Rasheeda's voice was hoarse, her face pale. She's going after them now. Not just us. She's tearing the whole thing down. KIRK shook his head, almost in disbelief. And she's gonna destroy herself, too. But Jasmine wasn't destroyed, not yet. Her follower count climbed even higher. Her name plastered across every headline. Some hailed her as the bravest woman in reality TV. Others condemned her as a hypocrite. But one truth was undeniable. She controlled the narrative now. She was the star of a story bigger than any scripted season could have created. As the dust settled that night, a single question echoed across the industry. Whispered in studios, blogs, and fan groups alike. If everything was scripted, if everyone was a character, then was there ever any truth in Love and Hip-Hop at all? And for the Frosts, sitting in their broken home, the pain of that question cut deeper than any contract clause, because even they weren't sure of the answer anymore. Jasmine's victim Liv had turned the fire into a full-blown inferno. By morning, the clips were everywhere replayed on gossip shows, chopped into memes, dissected on TikTok. Fans couldn't stop debating. Was Jasmine really exposing a corrupt machine? Or was she twisting the truth to save herself? The lines blurred, the emotions ran raw, and the industry braced for an earthquake that was about to reach the courtroom. VH1 executives couldn't contain it anymore. Sponsors fled, advertisers pulled their slots, and network lawyers poured over the very contracts Jasmine had leaked. In hushed conference calls, words like fraud, class action, and federal investigation echoed. If the documents were real, they hadn't just duped fans, they had potentially broken laws. Quietly, attorneys for former cast members reached out, preparing lawsuits. The empire Mona Scott-Young had built over more than a decade teetered on collapse. Meanwhile, Rasheeda's silence broke. After weeks of tears and whispers, she finally went live. No makeup, no music, just her in a dimly lit room, her voice shaking. I've stayed quiet too long. I want y'all to hear me, not the blogs, not Jasmine me. She paused, tears welling in her eyes. Yes, I signed papers. Yes, I stayed when I should have walked away. But don't think for a second my pain was fake. Don't think for a second my tears were for TV. I loved my husband. I fought for my family. That was real. The comments lit up instantly. Some fans rallied. We believe you, Rasheeda. Stay strong. Others mocked her. Too little too late. You can't cry real tears in a fake marriage. But for the first time, Rasheeda wasn't silent. Her voice cracked with emotion as she added, Jasmine, you call yourself a victim, but you knew what you were doing. You laughed while I suffered. You can't rewrite history now. Her words cut through the noise, sparking headlines. Rasheeda breaks her silence, calls out Jasmine directly. Jasmine, never one to back down, responded within hours. She went live, smirking at the camera, holding her phone as if it were a weapon. Oh, so now she wants to talk. Now she wants to act like she was the only one hurt. Please, Rasheeda, you were the star. You got the money, the fame, the boutiques. Me, I got hate. I got dragged. I got called every name in the book. You lived in the mansion while I was living check to check. Her tone turned icy. Don't you dare paint me as the villain when you signed the same contracts I did. The internet went into meltdown. Clips of Rasheeda's tearful confession were played side by side with Jasmine's smirk. Fans were split down the middle. Team Rasheeda and Team Jasmine hashtags battled for dominance. Comment sections turned into war. Influencers took sides, some calling Rasheeda a broken woman trapped by a toxic system, others declaring Jasmine a hero for blowing the whistle. But the chaos didn't stop online. The legal system got involved. Within weeks, news broke that multiple lawsuits had been filed by fans, by former cast members, even by ex-employees of the production company. Courtrooms buzzed with drama as lawyers prepared to put reality TV itself on trial. The Frosts were named in several suits, Jasmine was called as a potential witness, and VH1 executives scrambled to keep their secrets buried. The first court hearing was pandemonium. Reporters swarmed outside the courthouse, microphones shoved into every face. Rasheeda arrived in a black suit, sunglasses covering her tear-swollen eyes. KIRK walked beside her, stone-faced, ignoring the jeers of fans holding signs that read frauds and justice for viewers. Jasmine arrived separately, strutting in a red dress, flashing smiles at cameras like she was walking a red carpet. "Y'all ready for the truth?" she teased reporters. "It's about to get ugly." Inside the courtroom, tensions ran high. Lawyers laid out the foundation, contracts leaked, evidence mounting, allegations of deception and manipulation. The Frosts' attorneys argued they were pawns, trapped like everyone else. Jasmine's camp painted her as the brave truth-teller who exposed the lies. VH1's lawyers tried to shift blame, but the weight of public fury made every word sound hollow. When Rasheeda took the stand, her voice shook but grew stronger with every word. "I never wanted my life to be a performance. I wanted my marriage. I wanted my family. But I was told if I walked away, I'd lose everything. So I stayed. I played along. But my pain, that was never fake." Tears streamed down her face, and for the first time, fans watching the trial live-streamed online saw the woman behind the character. Then Jasmine took the stand. She leaned into the microphone, her tone sharp. "They called me the side chick, the homewrecker, the problem. But the truth, I was cast in that role. They told me to play it, and I played it. And when it was over, they threw me away. I exposed them because somebody had to. If that makes me the villain, so be it." The courtroom was electric. Fans online screamed in all caps, reacting in real time. "She's lying. She's telling the truth. They're both victims." The lines blurred, the drama deeper than any scripted storyline could have ever delivered. Back in Atlanta, the Frost children watched from home, their lives torn apart by headlines and lives. Rasheeda's mother shook her head, her voice heavy with sorrow. "This ain't just a show no more. This is their lives, and the whole world is tearing them apart." Outside, fans chanted, paparazzi snapped photos, and the world waited for the next revelation. The courtroom had become the new stage, the contracts, the new script, and the truth, a weapon more explosive than any reality TV plot twist. And as the judge called for recess, whispers rippled through the halls that there were more documents yet to be revealed, documents that could prove the entire franchise, from its very first season, had been one giant lie. So after everything you've just witnessed, after the shocking Instagram lives, the leaked contracts, the prenup clauses, and the explosive courtroom showdown, one question remains: what happens now? KIRK and Rasheeda stand on the edge of ruin. Their empire is shattered, their fans divided, their legacy forever scarred. Once celebrated as a couple who survived every storm, they are now accused of building that image on lies, staged fights, and signed contracts. And even though Rasheeda's tears may have been real, the world is left wondering, were they tears of heartbreak, or tears rehearsed for the cameras? Jasmine, on the other hand, has risen like a phoenix from the ashes, crowned by some as the queen of truth, while others dismiss her as a hypocrite cashing in on chaos. She claims she was a victim, too, a pawn in the producer's game. But can she really separate herself from the machine she helped feed? Is she the whistleblower who saved the fans from decades of deception? Or just another player in the greatest script reality TV has ever seen? And then there are the producers, the silent puppeteers who may have orchestrated every kiss, every betrayal, every slap, every tear. Are they guilty of selling fiction as fact? Of manipulating families for profit? Of turning human pain into televised entertainment? Or are they simply business people who gave the audience exactly what it demanded: drama, scandal, heartbreak? The fans are left at the center of it all. Millions of you invested your time, your emotions, your loyalty. You defended Rasheeda when she stood by KIRK. You cursed Jasmine when she exposed affair after affair. You cried during breakups, cheered during reconciliations, and tweeted through every shocking twist. But now, you've been told it may have all been scripted. So how do you feel knowing your tears might have been for nothing? Do you feel betrayed? Or do you still believe that even in the fakest script, the emotions can be real? The family is divided. Emotions are raw. The courtroom battle is far from over. And every day, more secrets threaten to come to light. This isn't just a story about KIRK, Rasheeda, and Jasmine. It's a story about truth versus performance, love versus business, loyalty versus betrayal. It's about the cost of building your life in front of the cameras, and the price you pay when the cameras finally turn against you. But here's where you come in. This story doesn't end with MIT, ends with you. Because the power isn't in the contracts, the lawyers, or the producers. The power is in the audience. The fans. You decide whether KIRK and Rasheeda deserve forgiveness or condemnation. You decide whether Jasmine is a hero or a villain. You decide whether reality TV is finished, or if you'll keep watching, knowing it might all be a performance. So I want to hear from you. Do you think KIRK and Rasheeda ever truly loved each other? Or was their marriage nothing more than a business arrangement? Do you think Jasmine is brave for exposing the truth, or selfish for waiting until now to speak? And most importantly, do you think you'll ever trust another reality show again, or is this the final nail in the coffin for love and hip-hop? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this isn't just their story anymore, it's yours. Your voice matters here, and I want to know exactly where you stand. Team Rasheeda, Team Jasmine, Team, they're all guilty. Let the world know. And if you've been glued to this drama the way I have, make sure you smash that like button, because it helps more fans find this story. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next twist, because if this saga has taught us anything, it's that the drama never ends. And hit that notification bell, because the next revelation could drop at any moment. And trust me, you don't want to be the last to know. Together, we've pulled back the curtain on one of the biggest scandals reality TV has ever seen. But this is only the beginning. The courtroom battles are heating up, the producers are scrambling, and the players are still plotting their next moves. The Frost Empire may have fallen, but the story isn't over. So stay tuned, stay vocal, and stay ready, because in this world, the truth is stranger, darker, and more dramatic than any script could ever be. Now it's your turn. Comment below, choose your side, and let's keep the conversation going, because the story of KIRK, Rasheeda, and Jasmine is no longer just a show. It's history in the making, and you were here to see it unfold.